When you sum up all of your experiences, the good, the bad, the indifferent, what do you come up with? What have you learned? What have you been able to connect? What do you see the resemblance in? That's what I want to talk to you all about today. Now that I'm in my 120 something episode, I usually don't talk about numbers, but now that I'm this far, I really want to do a recap of why I even started this. What started the Kim Unity Solutions podcast? And I really wanted to just post my first episode, but I've evolved. And so I really wanted to talk about the sum of it all. My very first episode, I want to say, was called Connecting the Dots because I was able to see how everything was connecting. But now in totality, how I would sum it up into one sentence is that good intentions do not guarantee great outcomes. That is my realization. When I started this podcast, it was because what I was experiencing in my personal life was also happening in my professional life. There were some, I would say, misunderstandings. There were scenarios where it wasn't clear, even though both sides understood it to be clear, but they understood it in their own mind frame, their own context. And so the end result was a disaster because what one person said wasn't interpreted, wasn't understood in the same way, just like in the professional life, just like creating or completing assignments in the workplace and then getting it returned because what was stated is not actually what they meant. It's never about the intentions. It's about the end result. Hello, everyone. I am Kim, the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experiences. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Kim Unity Solutions podcast, where we are inspiring leadership and humanity within and beyond the workplace. That's what it's all about. We're in the workplace, but we're still human, and we need to be treated as such. We need to treat each other as such. We need to treat ourselves as such. And we have to realize that what we think that we're leaving at the doorsteps of our home when we leave is actually being transported into our workplace. And so it's very important for us to be able to communicate in all of those environments and to be understood. And what happens is we communicate by speaking, but it's not a one-way street. Communication is at least minimum two-way. Otherwise, it's just direction or it's just a statement. It's not communication. It has to flow. It's a currency. It has to flow back and forth. And what happens is the missing piece is that one of the missing pieces, the main missing piece, is that it doesn't flow back. So we can say something and we can ask if it's understood. The other person can say yes or got it. But really what they heard, what they interpreted is not what you intended. It is not what you believe you communicated. We are missing that vital confirmation step, that vital understanding. And it leads to all kinds of expenditures because it's costly. It can cost mistakes. It can cost you reputation. It can cost you your respect. It can cause missed deadlines. It can cost you relationships. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Good intentions do not guarantee great outcomes. When you think about your choices, your conversations, your relationships, have you ever had good intentions? Have you ever did anything with a good heart only for it to be misinterpreted, misunderstood? It happens. It happens. And after deep self-reflection, after deep introspection, I am able to see, okay, where did this go wrong in this scenario? And we can't always point the finger of someone else. At some point, you have to find out where you can hold yourself accountable. Where could you have confirmed it? Where could you have stepped in their shoes? And in that first episode, I brought up several detailed instances of where I basically felt like I was burned. I was helping people and then it backfired. In one of those instances, I realized that, yes, she asked me to help her move. It was like a dire emergency. It had to do with domestic violence and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, what I have to take into consideration and what I did not take into consideration at the time was her mindset. She was in a panic. I did everything that she asked me to do. But when everything settled down, when everything seemed to be great, I ended up being in the wrong. And for years, I couldn't understand. Like, I did what you asked me to do. I helped you. I didn't charge you. I did it after work, just everything that I did with my good intentions. But it's not always about what we're communicating. It's also about mindset. What is being interpreted on their end? Is that their main focus? Is this the best emotional time frame for them to be making decisions? Should I have held back? Should I have paused? But in my mind, I'm thinking, this is an emergency. She wants to move. Let me help. But again, when things died down, everything was blamed on me about moving her things. Again, this is a personal example. But my point is that we can't just rely on what comes out of people's mouths when they are confirming understanding. It can't just be a nod. It can't just be an, okay, I got it. Even if they repeat it back, are they in the right mind frame? Are they in the right mindset? And again, she was in a emotional state. And stats will tell you, research will tell you that when it's replayed later, when they recall it later, the facts have changed. The conversations have changed. So we have to make sure that we're doing our part and we're taking more into consideration than what we hear. And I really want you to think about that. You can care deeply about someone and you can make decisions and lend helping hands even when asked, and it's still not turn out the way it was intended. In the workplace, I thought I was doing a great deed by trying to improve processes. I kept coming back to the same challenge month after month. And at some point, it's like, okay, now I'm spending way too much time on this every month. Let me dig into see, what is causing this problem. And so I complete my task and, I took time and I was reworking spreadsheets, trying to figure out what's the problem? Why does this keep happening? And then I saw it. And then I was able to think of a solution, and I thought it all the way through. All the way to the point that I worked it all the way back to someone else's department. So I brought it to them like, hey, this is the challenge I'm seeing every month. If I was to make this change on my end, it would help me. Would it also help you? Would this benefit you? Because I don't want to just make a change that only benefits me. I want to make sure that if I am able to make this change, that it will help you as well. And they were ecstatic. Oh, yes, this would save me time on the back end. My team, we'd be able to finish in 2 days. And I'm like, great. See, I had great intentions. But long story short, it cost me. It cost me my reputation. It cost me a bonus. Even though the company's set of expectations, and it's basically a list of if you can do this, then that means you are operating at, manager level, senior level, staff level. Then it also breaks it down into below average, above average, exceeding expectations. So it breaks down everything. And by me thinking about process improvement, identifying challenges, resolving them, making sure that it not just benefits me, but other departments without having to always go to management. That was the part. Even though I was in the guidelines of the written guidelines, I was not in the parameters with my manager. What I did not take into consideration was how she operates, what she needs. When you are dealing with a micromanager or someone who always needs to be in the know, even if the expectations or the company policy is not in alignment with that, you can be penalized. And that's exactly what happened. And so I can blame her all day long, but like I said at the beginning, you have to take accountability. Me knowing the policies and also knowing how she operates, it would have been more beneficial had I brought it to her attention first before even seeing if it would work for another department, just so she would be in the know. You see, I didn't take everything into consideration. And it cost me. That whole scenario was written up in my performance evaluation. I was docked. It later cost me promotion. I wasn't able to get the the position that had opened up after this incident. Good intentions do not always guarantee great outcomes. As I have summed this up personally and professionally, that is what I have come up with. And I know I'm not the only one. And I understand how miscommunication can cost you. It's expensive. And so what I do now, my speaking engagements, my podcasts, my blogs, my newsletters, my questions and perspectives conversation cards, all of my services, all of my workshops and advisory and products, it's all about communication. Because I have experienced it and I have studied it and I have applied it. And I see what works. I see what has went wrong in my own experiences as well as others. I can see where the areas that it could have been prevented. I can see where it has cost companies their reputation, departments their reputation. their bottom line, the expenses in hiring and retraining, the price you have to pay when you don't have processes documented, that's a part of communication. That's written communication. Working remotely, I have seen how disengagement occurs, how it is exponentially impacted how we communicate. And so that's where I am now. That's why I help corporations, I help organizations. I understand the importance of communication. I understand all of the ways that it can cost you. I've experienced it. And I want to do all that I can to make sure that everyone else is not impacted like I was. I want to make sure that we can take preventative measures. I want to talk about the importance of how we communicate, how it is understood, how it can be seen. And again, it's not just with our words, it's with our actions, it's with our inactions, it's with our assumptions, it's with our delay in decision making. I've seen it in the workplace. It's not just about what you say, it's what you don't say. It's what you don't address, dear manager, dear leader. By you not taking an action, you are communicating something. If there is a poor performer on your team and you are not taking action, and the results are not noticeable, disengagement is being created. Your retention rate will decrease. It will be hard to retain your top performers. And those top performers will not be referring other top performers to your organization. I always suggest that whenever you have somebody new on your team, whenever you're in the hiring process, whenever as an interviewee, when you are interviewing, you really want to understand the communication style. When you know that up front, you can make wise decisions. And it helps everyone in the long run. That is how you improve workplace culture, employee morale, employee satisfaction. It's about having that understanding and setting those expectations, understanding the expectations. And that's in the workplace, that's in your family, that's at the grocery store. That is what this podcast is all about. That is what my services are all about. This is what I instill in my children, how you communicate, how you address people, how you correct people, how you clear up misunderstandings, how you prevent them, how to de-escalate, how to prevent conflict. It is all about how we communicate. And just by making a few of these changes, you can positively transform your workplace, your home, your events, whatever it is. Good intentions do not guarantee great outcomes. We can intend the best all we want, but we have to make sure that it is being understood. It is clearly being communicated. Otherwise, we're not obtaining our desired result. This week, I want you to think about your actions. Think about your interactions today. And we also have to think about it indirectly. And what I mean by that is that you can treat someone a certain way and it be seen by someone else. And so now you are negatively impacting in multiple areas. Think about your interactions. Think about what would your team say about you? That's one of my questions in my conversation cards. What's something you believe you can work on? In all of our memories, in all of our pain points that we've experienced, it is so easy to point the finger at someone else. It is so easy to remember and find the fault in someone else's actions. But where in there can you see, okay, I could have done something better? I thought this was going to happen before. I should have known when, because some of this can be avoided. Some of these are lessons learned. And some of them are experiences that you go through in order to help someone else. And that's exactly where I have found myself. And I am thankful for all those experiences because now moving forward, I know the action that needs to be taken. I know the preventative measures that can be taken. I can help others avoid the same scenarios that I've experienced. What is it in your life that you've experienced that you can help someone else? I am your host, Kim the SME, and I want you to be more than intentional. We have to be more than intentional. We have to be confirmational. We have to confirm. We have to not only listen with our ears, but with our eyes. We have to get understanding. We have to extend empathy and grace. And that is how we get to a better place. That is how you retain your relationships. That is how you retain your top talent. That is how you reduce conflict. That is how you gain better understanding. And that is the conclusion of this episode. I hope you all have enjoyed it. I hope you've able to take away something and apply it. It's not just about taking away, it's about putting it in action. If you enjoyed this episode, check out my website, www.kimUnitySolutions, SOULUTIONS, for more of my services and more of my products. Until next time, you all be blessed. Bye-bye.